So one of your values is on the website seems to be sustainability.
Yeah.
Is it difficult to sort of uphold that when you've got sort of income demands and stuff like that?
Yeah. It's always a juggle. What we do is we have a framework that we use to sort of filter out the wrong clients and filter in the right ones. So, and it's basically directly taken from ethical investment. So the investment community developed this framework for where they're going to put their money in. So at the negative end, it's like industries that are inherently bad, and the obvious ones like tobacco, pornography, and munitions, and weaponry, that sort of thing. So it's like, okay, well, we just straight out don't touch that. That's really easy. But there's also companies that are just inherently bad in the way that they operate as well, and so they're thrown into that basket. It's just we just won't work with you. And so an example might be forestry companies. Like, we don't have any problem with forestry in and of itself. We use timber products and paper all the time, so it would be hypocritical of us to say it's inherently bad. But there are good ways and bad ways to manage that, and so anyone associated with guns, for example, we don't touch. And we've had several clients that we've been invited to speak to about work that we've either they're directly supportive of guns. One was a part owner of guns, separate business, but so it's like, no, we don't want to do that. But there's also even broader than that. And it's a bit fuzzier, but what we really don't want to do is enculture a consumptive lifestyle. And so that whole idea, affluenza, that Clive Hamilton wrote really well about. But basically people consuming things just because they do and not really thinking about it, and not providing a great deal of value or benefit to their lives, but at huge cost to the environment and often at huge cost to societies, typically in the third world. And so we really want to avoid encouraging that culture. We want people to have rich personal relationships and have well-designed, well-made things that are able to, at the end of their life, be recycled and turned into something else useful. And so we want to avoid at all costs encouraging just a consumptive lifestyle. Then there's the middle ground, which is kind of neutral. Telstra is a really good example of a large client of ours who telecommunications are good. Obviously, we're firm believers in the goodness of increased communication and tools to enable that. But at the same time, Telstra in and of themselves aren't this amazing sustainable company. But what we do get to do with them is work on really interesting design problems, because typically the things they come to us with are very complex, and so they're very satisfying to work on. But they provide us revenue, which is really important to earn a level of stability when it comes to ensuring that our staff get paid. So that's really key. And then there's the positives, which are things like the ecological footprint project I was talking to you about. Our biggest client actually at the moment is UNSW, but we're also working with UTS, and so the sort of tertiary education is a big part of our business at the moment, and that's really great for us because we strongly believe in the value of education. So, but you could also come across times where you might have science programs that we might have some peripheral involvement with, which have really negative impacts on people, or they might be using animal testing, all these kind of again sort of tricky issues that we haven't come across yet, but we might do. So it's not just blanket universities, they're good. You do need to look at this case by case.